So let's talk about lake trout spots for beginners. Now, that sounds weird, but what I would suggest for lake trout spots for beginners is big open flats. Or right now I'm next to a feeding flat, a ledge, and then another feeding flat. Right now I'm at the bottom of that feeding flat. I'm at 100 feet, as you guys can see with Livescope XR. You can do this with normal 2D. That is number one, because your sonar will have a nice, clean, easy to read return. So if you try to learn how to jig lakers on ledges, it is extremely hard to pick out a fish on a sharp edge, and your sonar won't work as well. And I've done videos about how to jig ledges actually on this spot. So I'll leave the link for that video below. But I got one chasing the snot out of me here. Come on. Must be just a little guy. Just a little guy. So flats are really, really good for beginners, especially if you're ice fishing. So I know ice fishing season's upon us. This is fall. These flats are super easy to do, and it's literally just a sitting and waiting game. So I have bait kind of all around me. I have lakers just completely stacked underneath me, which is really nice. Oh, they're so hungry, they keep slacklining me. And you really want to make these lakers chase. So we want to keep the jig above the bottom of the lake as much as possible. So I'm going to put on 2D here on the right here in a second. And what I do for beginners when I guide, I take them to a spot that has consistent fish that come in. It might not be fire, it might not be really big fish, but I get them to learn on those easier fish first, which would be like a spot like right now. And then I move them to spots that are a little harder, a little bit faster pace, to really like get dialed in on that laker bite. Because not everybody's used to seeing a sonar screen, or actually looking at the screen, or running away from fish, or not setting the hook when they feel that fish is going to bite. It's a lot of things combined together that it's different than your regular old bass fishing trip here. Come on, eat it. And for this depth, 2D really works well, Livescope Plus really works well, and XR really works well. So like that 100-foot flat and up is really, really easy for beginners. You don't need a bunch of tech. You don't need even Livescope Plus or XR. You can just jig off the back. If you want to watch a 2D style video, I'll leave the link for that below. I just filmed one this morning on a different spot. You want your sonar to read as clear and concise as possible. I just think these are smaller lakers. That one's fired up. There we go. And I'm using a medium heavy to a heavy bait casting rod. And I like one with a long butt. They don't make this rod anymore, otherwise I tell you what it is. But it's a cheap Cabela's rod. Not a big one, but not a small one. Just a little stubby guy. So as far as baits are concerned, you want as heavy as a jig or a spoon that you can get away with. You want it to sink fast, you want to bring it up fast. What I will suggest is something from the Big Bait Kit from benditfish.com. This is a 1 ounce jig. This glows, and the grub in the back glows. And it's got that nice wide profile that shows up better on sonar. Now, a lot of people will suggest like jigging spoons. The problem with jigging spoons is they have a really skinny profile and they're really hard to see on sonar. So you'll lose it, or it'll scope out away from you. You can blind jig with spoons really well, and they do really work well. But if you want to do the wait and run technique with the sonar, you want a nice heavy jig with a big flat profile so you can see that jig on your sonar. So we got a couple more coming in here on the left and the right. Come back around, come on. So they get up to that thermocline, they want nothing to do with it. So the thermocline, for the beginners that Want to know what that is? It's the hot water on top, cold water on bottom. Lakers do not like warm water. We're still at a 63-degree water temp, which is like almost perfect for them. They like 50 to 55, where they can like run completely to the surface. That's why spring is like really the best time to do like the wait and run technique, because they're running right to the surface. It's awesome. And let me show you what these flats look like real quick. So charts, fishing chart. But anywhere where we have a steep ledge, in that little flat there, see the lines get actually further and further apart? Those are flats. We want to fish the bottom of that. It's super easy to fish for beginners. Slackline me. There was a bigger one underneath them, of course. Nice one. Going back in. There are quite a few fish on the bottom. They are absolutely scrubbing bottom here. That one's hungry. Finally one that's starving here. Hook's already out. Nice cold Laker. He's about 26 inches, but super fat. And so one of the great things about fishing flats is you really don't touch any of your settings. You can do what's called a micro move. I'm gonna move probably 300 feet, not even, just to find a new school of lake trout that might not be as picky. That's really the only reason I'll move. Or if the fishing slow down, like if I haven't seen a fish in like 15 to 20 minutes, I'll do a little micro move and I'll just move forward into the wind usually, unless I'm out of space in that area, and then I'll turn around and go back again. So like right there is a big school of bait, and there should be Lakers right underneath them like there is. So we're just gonna run up to that spot and drift a second. Key to using spot lock. See, we're drifting forward. If I hit spot lock, by the time it realizes where I am, it's already spot locked back here basically. We wanna hit spot lock, unhit spot lock, and re-hit spot lock when that boat slows down. That way the motor's in reverse and it can stop us way quicker without doing all the funky stuff that spot lock does. Oh geez. Nope. So there's a ton of food down there. That's why these Lakers are being picky. If bait was a little more scarce. Oh, that Laker just chased another Laker. That was cool. Doesn't always happen. That one sees me from a distance here. So I'll use different jigging techniques or reeling techniques. I try not to lift and drop the rod at all, because then you run out of running room when you try to set the hook. I don't think he's still gonna eat. Oh, he might. He bumped it. Going back down. And I almost never ever let it hit bottom. I've said that in like so many freaking videos. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the screen right now. Usually what happens is that everything starts to go crazy down there, and I don't hook any of them, but not all the time. Just like that, and they all get confused and they kind of wander off. Just like that. Called it, folks. Called it, called it, called it. Now, they don't try to hit swim baits that much on the way down. But like I said, this is a beginner spot. It's just loaded with, I think, I've got a couple of bigger ones here, but it seems to be loaded with a bunch of smaller ones. Just how I start with my guide clients when I'm guiding in New Hampshire. The reason I'm out on Champlain today is because our season's closed over in New Hampshire. Oh, you can tell when the hungry ones come in because they just are so fired up. They'll hit it 2-3 times. That's what I love about Lakers that are actually hungry. That one was bleeding quite a bit. I want to get him back down as fast as possible. So these beginner spots are great. And once you master the beginner spot, you know your chase, you know all your little bit of techniques that you can change up. So reeling, jigging off bottom, holding it, dead sticking it, getting patient with the chase. Then you can move up to those ledges where you can have a little bit less time to go and make sure you're paying attention and get your electronics dialed in a little bit more. Find those flats, find the fish. They'll be on them all fall. Spring, summer, and fall. And then they'll go up spawn shallow in the fall, and then they'll come back down to these flats for wintertime. All right, that's it for the show, folks. For you beginners, go try out those flats. They are just productive all year round. Now that flat can move out a little bit deeper as the summer goes on, just because of water temperature. If you guys want to support the channel, visit benditfish.com. And if you want to see more videos, either click here or click here, and I'll see you on one of those next videos.